We've talked a little bit about expectations in the recent past and their sometimes negative impact on our life. I want to continue that thread today. I want to talk about some sneaky expectations that, if we're not careful, can quietly wreck our mood, stress us out, and seriously mess with our relationships. In psychological theory, there are what's called the 3 basic musts. And honestly, when I first heard them, I laughed a little because I realized I'd been living all 3. Let's take a little bit of time and walk through each one, and I'll share where I've fallen into these traps myself and how I started to challenge them. The first must. I must do well and win the approval of others, or else I'm no good. This one hit me hardest in my early 20s. I remember bombing a big presentation at work. I mean, full on sweaty palms. I lost my place, stumbled through the rest of it. When it ended, I rushed to the bathroom and literally stared into the mirror and was like, "What is wrong with you?" The pain was there about bombing the presentation, but it was mainly about what I told myself afterward. I must do well. I must impress people, and if I don't, I'm a failure. I'm not worth much at all. And this mindset is a huge trap. It sets us up for anxiety, for perfectionism, and burnout. It took me a long time to realize this. When I did, I began to loosen my grip on this must. I started to shift my mindset to a place that was a little more objective. I began to say, I'd prefer to do well and be liked, but I don't have to be. I can still accept myself, flaws and all. Now this sounds simple, but it's huge. You're going to think something? Why not have a say in it, in what you think? So replacing must with prefer opens up a space for grace, for growth, and for being human. So the second must. Others must treat me nicely and be respectful to me, or they're wrong, they're terrible, and they deserve punishment. Wow, this one definitely used to show up, especially when I was sitting in traffic or driving. I used to get irrationally angry at people who cut me off on the highway. Like, I'd be yelling inside my car like it was a courtroom. "Your Honor?" Clearly that man's a sociopath. And one time, I even followed a guy for a bit just so I could give him a look. You know, that stare. You know, that big skunk eye. Like, what was that going to accomplish? And here's the reality. People are going to be rude. They're going to be selfish and unfair sometimes. Not because they're evil, but because they're human. And here's an insight that helped shape how I thought about others. I mean, I'd prefer others to treat me well, but they don't have to. I don't have to let their behavior destroy my peace, right? Now when someone's rude, I try to think maybe they're having a rough day. Maybe they're just being them. Maybe they are just rude. Either way, I don't need to let their lack of kindness turn me into a grump. This is hard stuff, but it can be life-changing. So here we go with the third must. The world must be easy, it must be comfortable, it must be convenient, and it must give me what I want, or I can't stand it, it's terrible, and it's really awful. If you've ever shouted, "Why is this so hard?" while trying to cancel a gym membership online, yeah, you've met this must. For me, this one sneaks in when I'm overworked, when I'm stressed, or sleep deprived. You know, a while back I was juggling a ton of projects, and my laptop just randomly stopped working. So I slammed it shut. I stood up, and I just said out loud, "I can't deal with this." It sometimes feels like the end of the world, and that's where the mind goes. Not a fun place to be. It sometimes feels like I can't deal with it, but in actuality, I can. We can. We have to shift our mindset. The shift I try to use to combat this negative frame is I wish things were easier, but I can tolerate discomfort. I can tolerate frustration and setbacks. I'm more capable than I think. We are more capable than we think. I've also started saying to myself, this is annoying, but not the end of the world. And guess what? It helps a lot. I know this kind of sounds like common sense when we say this out loud, but these musts run deep. They're like invisible scripts that quietly shape our reactions. I must be perfect. People must treat me right. Life must be easy. And when life doesn't match those demands, we suffer. But the moment we shift those musts into preferences, we get our power back. We gain flexibility. We stop fighting reality and we start responding to it. We allow a little bit of objectivity into our space and become less defensive, less anxious. So here's a challenge. This week, catch your musts. Notice when you're demanding something from yourself, from others, or life. Then ask, can I turn this demand into a preference instead? You'll be surprised how much lighter things feel. You're a lot less rigid. If this resonated with you, leave a comment about which of the musts show up most in your life. Let's talk about it. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share. All that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one.